Okay, we have an acquisition of signal over on YouTube. How copy? YouTube, this is Eric Johnson, Space Administration Control. Can you read me? Over. You got me on the tube? Okay. All right. Copy. Go at bubble. Bubble wrap. Nominal. All right, let's do this. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Forgot the comms beep at the end of your message. Beep! There you go. How's that? Are you happy? Are you happy? How about now? Yeah, scared you, didn't I? That was on purpose. Sorry. Now I'm very happy. Dude, does anybody... All right. Does anybody know what that was? It was 4014. You guys know me too well. Yeah, 4014's still doing its thing. Sorry, it's just that I thought you guys would want to see this. That's not SPAC. Well, you don't like trains? Fine. All right. Fine. Don't be cool. Without trains, you cannot space. Without trains, you cannot space. Trains, bring it back. Oh. I was gonna get you a different train here, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. What is this pill? Oh. Okay. Hey. There's two of them. There's two of them, chat. We should fix that one. We should make that one work too. Yeah, the Big Boy could pull SRB segments. It could do that. SpaceX just raised $86.1 billion from the IPO. Dude, it's going to be hard to top the past flame trench. That was so awesome having Jared Isaacman on. Yeah. Yeah, we talked to Jared on Friday. Yeah. I'm not saying you can go back during Thursday's Space News and figure out the exact point when I saw what was going on, but I'm pretty yeah, you can go back and look, and I was like, yeah, and then I didn't say anything though. You should have him back on. He said that he would like to do that again sometime in the future. So, all right. I like that picture too. That's a G-tail. They should fix that too. I started up. I got nervous on the second question, guys, because there was so much mic balancing going on. The way we had to patch in, there was 2 microphone mute buttons, and Sawyer and Jack both. Yeah. You had to. There was a mute button for Jared, the way we were patched in, and there was a mute one for the stream. Each one of us had that. So I'm looking like this, back and forth, like checking the mute buttons, checking when I'm ready to go. And yeah, I thought I was muted during the second question, but I wasn't. So that's why I stuttered around on the second question. Also trying to keep up with like chats and stuff. But yeah, we did get some pretty cool questions from him. Dude, he answered them. He freaking answered them. Yeah, I asked him some pretty hardball questions, and I hope he would appreciate it. I'm not trying to be a jerk. These are questions that people have. And guys, I'll be a I'll be 100% like. Do I agree like 100% with what Jared's doing? No, like, eh, nah, like not 100%. But the big thing is that Jared seems to have a plan. He seems to have a plan, and you know, that's the big thing that I learned from what he was saying. Like, clearly, clearly, this isn't just get to 2028 and, you know, oh, I landed. All right, bye. You got a nice suntan. Yeah. Bria and I went to a destination wedding over the weekend, Sawyer. It was a little rowdy. You know what I mean? Yeah, may or may not have ended up DJing like an entire pool party or something. Whatever. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It was a good time. So yeah, Jared seems to have a plan, and I guess it's okay. Like, you know, I wanted him to answer those questions, but I didn't want to be a jerk either, you know. Being a jerk doesn't get you more interviews. So when are you interviewing Victor? I don't know. I seriously thought I was gonna lose it and say you're relying too much on commercial. NASA should do it all in-house. Perfect is the enemy of good, Lord. I think that's a good time to invoke that statement. Bill Nelson had a plan too, and it involved more pudding. Pudding? Why did you fill solid rocket booster casings with pudding? Well, that's the way we store a lot of pudding. What about launching rockets? What? Those are the best weddings. Yeah, it was a good one, Sawyer. It was a good time. Now, if you did that with Jared, no. I asked him some pretty tough questions, but I'm not going to be a jerk either. Because he frankly had the balls to come on there and be like, ask me whatever, I don't care. I'm like, okay. And I respect that. I respect the hell out of that, to be honest with you, dudes. How's it feel to go to sleep in Boston and wake up in Glasgow? I wasn't in Boston this weekend, dude. I wasn't anywhere near Boston this weekend. I was in a place where it was sunny, dude. Look at me. Dude, I even equalized the farmer's tan a little bit. That's how much sun I got. Look, it's no longer like tan, you know, sheepskin. We have a gradient now. See that? See the gradient? It like that's how much sun I got. But yeah. Sometimes you have to play hardball, but in a nice. I'm not going to do gotcha questions with Jared, guys, and whatever. I'll ask questions, but I'm not going to be a prick about it either. Being a prick about it doesn't make you a good interviewer. Okay? Now that you're back, did you see many statues with traffic cones on their heads? Once again, wasn't in Boston this weekend, so I couldn't tell you. Apparently, there's a lot of bagpipes being played. I wasn't there, dudes. Primo and I were not close to Boston. Like, we were nowhere near it. You ever go on like a weekend trip and feel like you've been gone for a week? That's what happened. Ferrari won in Barcelona. Well, a broken clock is right twice a day, dude. Exactly, Hellfish, yes. Yep. That's right, Nova. Mm-hmm. At least it's not as bad as your sunburn was, second-degree burns. Dude, wear sunscreen. Don't be an idiot. Second-degree burns, you know, there's the suntan lock. Probably you should probably use that. Just saw your reaction to the Jared news. Huh? Sunscreen doesn't work. No, no, it does. Yes, it does. Sun tries to burn me, but you won't let it, will you? Ultraviolet rays bad, lotion good. Smiley. Look at the winning margin. Why do you guys want to talk about everything but space right now? Speaking of Farmer's Den, do you play farming sim games? Do you like them? I played farming sim games before, man, Weasel. Yeah, I like them. Just other stuff to do. All right. Now it looks like one of those color palettes that you use to gauge the correct stain or use on your fence. Yeah. No, it's better. It's a gradient. At least it's not a vending. What do you think SpaceX wants to do with all that money? All right, we can start there if you want. Let's go here, let's go here, let's go here. All right, let's take a look, see what we got. SpaceX is trading at 187. Never mind, it's trading at 184. Just kidding. Tell me, sir, what's on the space agenda? SpaceX has raised, like, what was it, Sad? $80 billion? Yeah. Somebody, oh, yep, see. Somebody bought in at 183. All right. As I predicted on Friday, Jared and Jack, great interview, by the way. Oh, yeah. Wear suntan lotion. Or, you know, let the sun cook you. You should have just showed Jared that. All right. Let's get into the news, dudes. Let me start transferring the links over and go. So yeah, SpaceX is up. I would say, you know, we're only into the second day of trading for the IPO since the IPO, so just chill. That one link. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, I got one more. All right, we start with SpaceX since we were talking about it. That's okay. Take your time. By the way, what happened to ESAR? ESAR said the fluid management, well, not fluid management. What did they say exactly? Hold on. Okay. So they were going to go a little bit earlier, but we are standing down from today's launch attempt. We are still detecting off-nominal behavior from the vehicle's fluid systems. The teams are analyzing new data to isolate the root cause. That's a nice way of saying we don't know what's going on with the vehicle. We got to figure it out. That's fine. But, yeah, that's what happened with them. Okay, so let's take two. Okay, SpaceX is trading at 183. It's up now. The IPO was at 135, and it's up at 183, which is great. It's up 22 today, 14% since the IPO. or 14 today. Or no, yeah, no, that's right. The first way I said it was right. So that's good. That's cool. Boeing is up 4. Wow. Jeepers creepers. Huh. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to see that too. All right, so let's go here. Let's check this out. Space Exploration Technologies Corporation announces closing of initial public offering, including full exercise of underwriters' opinion to purchase additional shares. SpaceX today announced the closing of its IPO of an aggregate 638,888,888 shares of its Class A common stock, including the full exercise by the underwriters of their over-allotment option to purchase an additional 83,333,333 shares of Class A common stock from SpaceX. The issuance of all shares closed on June 15, 2026, bringing the gross proceeds from the initial public offering to SpaceX to approximately $85.7 billion. That's pretty good. Yeah, so jeez. Where did it start on the market today? It started at 166 and it's up to 184. Wow, dude. That's pretty nuts, dude. A B-52 just went down near Edwards. That's not great. Also, fun fact, there are only 20 countries on Earth with a GDP higher than Elon. You mentioned the B-52 like 10 minutes ago. Okay. Been a rough weekend for aviation. Well. Yeah, I have one share too, Golfing Fish. For the memes. I think we bought in at like 150. So made $30. That's pretty cool. What do we got? Oh. I'm not showing that. I was about to show it and I decided I'm not showing that. That's pretty gruesome. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna show that at all. Did you see the Oliver Tree helicopter crash? I heard about it. I don't know who Oliver Tree is. I know he's a YouTuber, and I guess there were other YouTubers on it. I don't know what that means. But, yeah. So that's, yeah, not a good time for aviation. But let's get into what's going on with spaceflight. All right, so Blue just posted this a second ago. Does a B-52 have ejection seats? I don't remember. I don't think so. Blue Origin posted, planetary defense is a pressing challenge in space. Here's how Blue Ring is solving it. We developed NEO, Near Earth Objects Hunter, a mission concept that tests ion beam deflection and direct kinetic impact techniques, leveraging Blue Ring's unique ability to maneuver, host, and deploy payloads across deep space. Wow, man, look at all these things that aren't launching rockets. That's cool. I'll talk about that in a second one, man. And also there's this. You guys want to see what the front of the HIF looks like, or front of the IF. It's not great. That's very broken. They resorted to the, hey, look over here. Yeah, we're not doing that because there's a big crater in the ground. These pictures came from a Financial Times article. It is paywalled, so I'm not sure how much of it we should read, but something weird just went. Something weird just went live on the FAA schedule. Oh, all right. Well, we'll check that in a moment. Huh.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
That's not buffeting the mic, is it? Hey, Kershak. My go-to for space news. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, dude. Could be a parachute test drop from a helicopter, maybe.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Audible but not annoying at all. Okay. I just gotta find the happy medium. But yeah. Guys, that's gonna be really difficult to fix. That's gonna be towers are really hard to fix like this. It's not impossible. Don't sweat it. Nice. It's not impossible to fix something like that. You gotta hope that the tower is still true. If it's like bent to the side a little bit, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad day. I think it's a full teardown. Dave Limp said it was possible that it can be fixed, but I have it already, Venturino. How about this other picture? Jeepers creepers. Dudes, this thing. The concrete bridge, this piece should be up here somewhere. See where the fence is? That fence should be right here.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Why don't they just order a new tower on Amazon?
I think that might be your problem, because they think they can. Wouldn't all the twisting and flexing of that tower damage all the footings under it? Depends if they got superheated or not. I'm going to go ahead and say that they probably did. This is... Yeah. Guys, remember when I said a little while back that there's a crater where the flame trench should be? Well, I see a lot of rocks down there. I see a lot of rocks and dirt. I'm just putting it out there. You see that? There's a lot of dirt down there. It's not supposed to be dirt down there. It looks like the upper stage is the inner stage that survived. That's Slick 36 or LC 36. It's toast. That's the pad that they're gonna say they're gonna rebuild in 3 months or 6 months. Yeah. No, I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably not gonna happen, but whatever. Yeah. See, this piece should be right here. There's the launch deck right there, and there's the plate. That's where the engine section should be. It was LC36. This is junk, guys. This is junk. This is like, look, there's a hole. There's a hole in the flame trench. See the dirt? See all the stuff that's not concrete? So that's from an article from the Financial Times. It's if they think they can do it, that would be nice. So once again, this is all from a Financial Times This is from a Financial Times article that's paywalled, and they want you to pay $1 for a month and then $75 per month after that to read their articles. To read a digital article. Complete digital access to quality journalism with expert analysis from industry leaders. Pay a year up front and save
Discovery,
$20.
go at throttle up.
Somebody looked at this and said, yes, this is a good idea. I'm just putting it out there. Speaking of somebody looking at this, there's the archives here. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because I don't need somebody getting up my tailpipe about reading paywalled stuff, etc., etc. What the hell is even premium digital? Yeah, you don't even get like a physical copy of their damn articles. We saw it, Admina. I'm not showing it on stream. Okay? They want $75 a month, unironically. All right, let me read this real quick. Really, Berlin-based? That's funny. Yeah, there's the pictures that we just saw. All right, I'm looking through it. I don't want to show the whole thing. I don't need anybody getting angry. Paywall is the only way media outlets are making money. Advertising is dead for them. That's very surprising to hear, one man. That they're making money from that. I'm looking through the article. Give me a second. Most of this is pretty right information, guys. Yeah, it's not anything we didn't know. Jeff cashed out Amazon's shares to fund this. It's wholly privately owned. He's the only stakeholder, etc., etc. Blue Origin achieved significant feats with its rocket, including being the first company to land a booster used in suborbital flight, the portion of the vehicle that helps propel it off the ground, in November of 2015. Yet its achievements were quickly overshadowed by space... Overshadowed? That's what you call that? SpaceX landed its orbital booster a month after Blue Origin and rapidly developed and refined its Falcon 9 rocket, a 700-meter tall craft that can carry 23 tons into space on a single mission. The group carried more than 80% of... Falcon 9 carried more than 80% of all mass into orbit last year, according to regulatory filings. Overshadowed. Give me a freaking break, dude. Those rockets aren't even in the same class. That's like saying, oh, I have a go-kart and it got overshadowed by my neighbor who owns a Ferrari. What? Okay. Wasn't the DCX the first suborbital rocket to do VTOL? Yes. All right, let me see. Huh. Multiple current and former employees say that Blue Origin initially struggled to make the adjustment to a fully fledged rocket company. They say that the group had a conservative attitude under Bob Smith, a former Honeywell executive who took charge in 2017 to scale the organization. Okay. Smith's tenure led to bureaucracy and cultural problems, including allegations from employees that the company had a male-dominated culture. The people add. Blue Origin previously pushed back against these claims. Some employees acknowledge that the company grew rapidly during Smith's tenure, with a headcount rising from 500 to more than 11,000 people. As he worked to build the infrastructure necessary to compete for large commercial and government contracts. Staff add that Bezos was also absent for large stretches of his time due to his role helming the cloud and e-commerce behemoth. His main business was Amazon, and he only ever had so much time to commit to Blue Origin, says one former senior employee. He relied on others. Although the risk-adverse culture under Smith helped safely propel Bezos into space in July 2021, when he flew on the group's first mission, the former executive says it also held the group back as SpaceX accelerated to a dominant market position. Okay. In addition, Blue Origin faced a series of setbacks in the development of its rockets, including being forced to ground New Shepard for 15 months after the rocket burst into flames a little over a minute into launch in September of 2022. The flight was unmanned, but raised an alarm internally, with many fearing that a future disaster could have existential repercussions. In the business, we call that foreshadowing. If we had hurt someone, that would have been the end, for the former executive adds. Enter Dave Limp. The former Amazon executive arrived at the rocket launch company with no significant previous space experience, but brought with him an understanding of Bezos' vision for the project and a desire to instill a work ethic more similar to that at SpaceX. Dave understands what Jeff means when he says, let's do X or Y. They speak the same language, and he knows how to operate in that world. I think I'm just going to go out and say it, that world is not space flight. Limp inherited a New Glenn program that had been long delayed. In a personal blow to Bezos, Amazon was forced to contract with a host of providers, including SpaceX, to launch its LEO broadband satellites into space. That's true. The decision to change management came as Bezos, having left Amazon in 2021, started to play a more prominent role with Blue's leadership. His focus was 100% at Blue Origin. He joined weekly meetings and deep dive reviews. He sat on technical discussions and was focused on all elements of the company. Limp, meanwhile, introduced an Amazon-like approach to the company's daily operations, with 12-hour shifts and aggressive targets. He laid off more than 10% of Blue Origin's workforce last year and reshaped management, making several senior hires from the Seattle-based group, including supply chain chief Tim Collins, chief information officer Josh Kopelman, and chief financial officer Alan Parker. In a particularly bold move, the former Amazon executive poached Tori Bruno, chief executive of rival United Launch Alliance, in December to helm the group's national security business. Multiple current and former employees say some of these changes hastened the launch of New Glenn in January 2025, which reached orbit with the company sacrificing its rocket booster in a bid to accelerate development. SpaceX is up at 192, guys. Blue Origin proceeded to recover its booster only on its second flight in November and repeated the feat once more in April. The company also recruited senior leaders from SpaceX and has adopted an iterative approach to development. In April, one of its upgraded BE-4 engines blew up on the test stand. According to two people familiar with the matter. Repairs were completed within weeks, and the company gained valuable insights. Apparently you didn't. Iteration worked out for SpaceX. Stuff will blow up and you learn from it, said one employee. Bezos is also spending more aggressively with Blue Origin, scaling operations, including building an 800,000 square foot manufacturing facility and a second launch pad in Florida. Dave Limp in January of 2026 placed New Shepard, whose engines are used in the upper stage of New Glenn. Nope, that's wrong. It says that. Look. Nope. On hiatus for 2 years. People paid $75 a month for this. On hiatus for 2 years as the company focused on its wider commercial objectives. No, that's not even like an interpretation. The BE-3 and the BE-3U are two different engines. That's two way different things. That's like saying a V8 and a V6 are the same because they're both V engines. No. Nope. Different motors. Nope. On hiatus for 2 years as the company focused, once again, $75 a month for this. Somebody pays $75 a month. Okay. On hiatus for 2 years as the company focuses on wider commercial objectives. Blue Origin also seeks to mimic the success of SpaceX satellite broadband network, Starlink, which generated $4.4 billion in operating income last year alone. It plans to use TerraWave, a proposed network for enterprise-focused satellites it unveiled in January, as a route to becoming cash flow positive.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, the Swamper! 21-month resub, thank you. Guys, am I looking at that paragraph right? Blue Origin is also seeking to mimic the success of SpaceX's satellite broadband network, Starlink, which generated $4.4 billion in operating income last year alone. It plans to use TerraWave. TerraWave. Which one is TerraWave? I don't even know. There's too many names. Is TerraWave... TerraWave is blue. TerraFab is SpaceX. Okay. All right. Blue wants to use TerraWave for cash flow positive. All right, cool. Yeah. Star Terra. In a staff meeting last month, Limp told employees that the group was aiming to use half of all New Glenn flights to build out its satellite constellation due to significant business benefits. Yeah. You don't have to look far for the business model. Just look at SpaceX, he said, according to the people familiar with the remarks. Blue Origin has filed with the FCC for a constellation of 5,400 TeraWave satellites and promised speed significantly faster than SpaceX's Starlink. It has also submitted proposals for Project Sunrise. It's planned to build a 51,000-strong satellite constellation to run AI workloads similar to SpaceX's own orbital data center ambitions. Big reason why SpaceX has been able to invest so much in Starship and support scaling has been Starlink. That's right, said Josh Parker, an analyst at Capstone, a Washington-based consulting firm. A lot of Blue Origin's launches are for Amazon Leo. That's not necessarily a cash engine for the company. Dave Limp faces challenges motivating employees who have watched their peers at SpaceX look set for a significant payday. Blue Origin has not afforded the staff the same opportunity, and even in a revised share plan unveiled earlier this year, refused to offer them the chance to hold actual equity and instead meted out cash-settled options akin to a bonus, much to employees' chagrin. It seems like everybody's working hard to meet the company's goals, and Jeff just hasn't delivered it for us, says a Blue Origin employee. One former senior executive said Bezos had been opposed to a conventional scheme. He didn't think it would do much for recruitment, retention, or performance. He also didn't want to cede any control. They talk about the anomaly. The major anomaly also occurred. All right. Insiders who watched the May 28th Inferno liken it to the catastrophic SpaceX explosion experienced in 2016 with its Falcon 9 rocket. That major anomaly also occurred during a static fire test, but the rocket was already loaded with a $200 million satellite that was destroyed. Well, it was a severe setback. SpaceX recovery has been robust. Oh, that's what you call that. Okay. In a post following New Glenn's explosion in May, Elon said, "Most unfortunate, rockets are hard." Yeah. Internally, the company's spoken about accelerating plans for a redesigned launchpad and bringing forward a series of design changes in a bid to capitalize on this moment in time to make progress on technical updates that have been delayed due to Blue Origin prioritizing rockets for launch. That is exactly what you shouldn't be doing. Yet some employees are skeptical that New Glenn will launch again this year given the state of the current investigation. Bruh, please look at SpaceX stock right now. I see it. It's up at 192. I have the window open, homie. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're still digging through the debris. I'd be surprised if we launch again this year, says one long-standing employee. Pad reconstruction will take months of work. Months? Yeah, poison. That's 12 months is still months. Images shared with the Financial Times show the extent of damage at Blue Origin's launch pad, including a destroyed concrete bridge strewn rocket parts. There ain't no part of the rocket left. Those are all pieces of the pad. Maybe the interstage survived, maybe. Dedicated pipelines that feed liquid coolant, fuel, and gases. That feed liquid coolant, fuel, and gases used to maintain the rocket safety have also been damaged. What is liquid coolant? What does that mean? That's a really fancy way of saying water.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Anyway, there's no certain timing on the delivery of key parts, said another long-standing employee. Even if you start pulling resources from other parts of the company, there's still going to be constraints. Yep.
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Oh no, gifted 10 subs. Thank you. They want 75 bucks a month for that. $75 a month? You gotta be kidding me. The investigation is continuing, but staff say a suspected leak triggered an explosion as the rocket was undergoing a procedural static fire to test its engines ahead of flight. What caused the leak? Every pee-pee is poo-poo time. Or no, every poo-poo is pee-pee time, but not every pee-pee is poo-poo time. You ever think of that, Mr. Batman? A 30-06. What caused the leak? Why does your rocket have a leak in it? When normies talk about technical things, yeah. A GSE leak? Yeah, rocket leak? What are we talking about here? Where's that part? Did I miss that part? Oh yeah, it's right there. I think Max did it, yeah. The suspected investigation turned into... If we end up with another hurricane season this year, that alone can cause major delays for Blue and SpaceX. Yeah. Yeah, that's up at the beginning of the article. I didn't want to read the whole thing, so people don't get up my case, dude. Staff say a suspected leak triggered an explosion as the rocket was undergoing a procedural static fire to test its engines ahead of a high-profile mission to ferry 48 satellites into space for Amazon. Scorched components have been discovered far away off the Atlantic coast, according to people familiar with the matter. NHC is predicting below normal season for whatever that's worth. Interesting, dudes. Fuel leak, huh? You'd know if there was a leak before you went to hot fire it, guys. There's just no way. You'd know. Like, you'd be able to see a leak in the telemetry because you would see downward trends and eventually a red line condition during countdown. I'm very, very confident that that leak started when they tried to start the engines. You've heard their countdown loops, they might not. That's you know what, Echo? That's a good point. That's a good point. Guys, I'll just go and say it, like, I don't think that trying to run a spaceflight company like Amazon is the smartest decision. There are places where you will be rewarded, but there are places where you won't really be rewarded. Sometimes there's just bottlenecks, and sometimes you can't rush. You can't rush that. Like your propulsion, you don't want to rush that. With that being said,
Discovery,
I really do want Blue to do well. I really do. I really hope above anything else they take a good look in a mirror here and figure out, like, okay, we got to fix this, right? But the thing is I already see this behavior repeating itself, and Dave Limp saying he wants the pad done in 6 months. What? What are you talking about? Like, brother, like, that's like saying I'm going to do an oil change in 5 seconds. You are? You sure? You sure about that? Or an oil change in 5 seconds? Like, if somebody says, yeah, I could do one in 5 seconds, you know that's impossible. Unless you had some, like, kind of crazy equipment, right? In this case, the crazy equipment is, launch pad parts, which, are not really plentiful these days. I just... Remember what Barron said a few days ago about the fact that a different engine startup transients can couple to the vibration models of structure and punctured fuel lines. Yes. I suspect that is a deliberate Elon's time style move, trying to motivate. I don't know. Do you think 6 months could be pulled off with 24 hours a day crews in all parts? Maybe. Maybe. It's possible, dudes. Like, I don't know. I just blew a piston through the pan, and I'm going to have this running this afternoon, boss. Yeah, like, no, you're not. Like, guys, like, you guys remember, like, 2 weeks ago, I got grilled on Flame Trench for saying that they're going to have it turned around in 12 months. I honestly think a year is a realistic timeline, and that keeps you in line for your Artemis missions. I worry that them trying to rush to rebuild a pad in 6 months because, like, we got to show that we can rebuild this quickly is... I think that's going to end up with a cobbled together pad that ends up being more trouble than what it's worth, if you really want my honest opinion. And then you're supposed to scale flight rate on top of that? Car. I mean, okay. Okay. Good luck, dudes. Like, I really hope you do it. I honestly do. I would really hope so. Yeah, man. That's gonna be no joke to clean up, dude. What I worry is now that they'll rush to rebuild the pad and they'll change things on the rocket again, because why not, right? And they may have other setbacks later on. Changing too many things at once is not a good way to do things. Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's hey, Pat. Fantastic 100th trench last week. I'm glad you liked it. Jeepers creepers. What do you think the timeline would be if Blue Origin can retool the VAB and put existing Methalox infrastructure in, still close to 12 months? That could get done in 12 months, yes. I don't think anybody's going to let them use their pads, though. If I was NASA, I wouldn't let them use 39B. Even a clean pad design could jeopardize the Artemis program. But then again, New Glenn blowing up already did, so who knows? Anyway, all right, I said what I wanted to say. So, guys, on Friday, if you didn't see it, on Friday we did the Flame Trench 100th episode, and we had Jack, me, and Sawyer back on, which was actually pretty fun. It was a pretty good time. And then on top of all that, at the end of the show, to do a Q&A because he wanted to, we had NASA administrator, 15th NASA administrator Jared Isaacman on there. And we got to ask him a bunch of questions.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
The heater failed, so we should get a whole new tank. Yeah, geez. Grits and Gravy, 63-month resub. We have Yak Boyer. And Jared was in there. Sawyer and I got to ask him a bunch of questions. Jack got to ask him a bunch of questions. So, I got to talk to the NASA administrator the other day. That was pretty cool. Really nice dude. I like him. Good dude. Mr. John NASA himself. Who approached who for that interview? He approached us, if you really want to know. And we're not saying no to that. That was actually a lot of good back-end work from like Kevin and people that handle the back-end over at NSF. Yeah. He likes Flame Trench, and he wants to do more. At least that's what he said, so. You can see Sawyer's more used to this than you. That was fun. Sawyer's more used to it, but my mic never got muted. You told him, see, buddy? Yeah, I don't remember asking that, but anyway. But, I actually asked him about, what's going on with the EUS, and he was telling me that even if they put the EUS on the fast track, 2029 is the closest time they would have been able to have that. If 2029 is the closest time they would have been able to have the EUS, I hate saying it, but, putting a Centaur up there is probably a quicker solution. I still think going ham on the EUS might get you there, but Jared basically told me in plain English, like up front, like, no, even if we had pushed that program, you're not going to get it done in time. And he said Centaur's coming along too. And here's my thing. I've always said that it's not just placing it up there, right? You're not just placing a Centaur on top of it. You're going to have to redesign it for a load reactor and stuff. You seem to say that that's coming along really well, so. Yeah. And I also asked him what's SLS's place after, Starship uses, or if Starship is being used as your departure stage with Orion. And he actually told me some pretty interesting stuff. What Jared basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, he wants SLS with that standardized Centaur stage because with Starship HLS, if they were going to do TLI boost, so have Starship and Orion on SLS dock in Earth orbit and then shoot the moon, what they would end up doing is having them rendezvous in high Earth orbit, which you'd still need SLS for anyway. Strengthening a tank is easier than scratch building a stage. Strengthening a tank spoiled. Yeah, that statement that you just said tells me you know nothing about Centaur stages. Right there. That tells me you don't understand what a Centaur is. Do you need clarification? I can help if you need that. Centaurs, dude, it's not reinforcing Centaur. Reinforcing Centaur isn't the solution there. You can't because of its stainless design. Well, you could, but they're not going to do that. They're most likely, because then that basically you're redesigning the stage if you change your tank wall thickness on Centaur. The problem is that the outer tank wall thickness on a Centaur is half of a dime. That can only take so much, even under pressure. You're getting to the edge of the material properties of stainless steel. Changing the thickness of your tank wall is as complicated as designing a new stage, especially when it comes to building a Centaur. I know it's a balloon tank. Well, I don't know why you said what you said then, but because that makes no sense. If you know what it is, you'd know that if changing the tank wall thickness, it's not that simple, dude. It needs a load reactor. There's no way. There's no way thickening up the tank. Well, and even then, if you thicken up if you change the wall thickness on your Centaur stage, you're redesigning the stage completely. That completely defeats the purpose of using an off-the-shelf stage solution. The only thing I could imagine is adding an external truss around it. A load reactor. It was fun to see how much Jack loosened up as the show went on. Yeah, he had to kind of get back into it. It's a politically driven timeline. That context is important, and he needs to manage that upwards going forward. Not easy. Yeah. I think that Jared has a... Okay, like, we could split hairs with all that stuff with Centaur. I've talked about it many times. I'm not going to talk about it more. Guys, the gist of this is that... Look, Jared has a plan, and if in the future the plan is send SLS to high Earth orbit for Starship to be used as your transfer stage and for a lander, I'm cool with that. And then you use SLS with the B1S configuration to go out to the moon and do a rendezvous with wherever Blue's going to go. So you could send SLS out to the moon, or you could send it to high Earth orbit. You could use SLS B1S for either one of those missions. That does kind of constrain SLS to basically doing one thing, which does kind of suck, but yeah, I get it. And it's guys, like, honestly, it's a plan, dude. Perfect is the enemy of good. It's a plan. It makes sense. And honestly, I think Jared's one to execute. So, because he's definitely not a politician, dude. Like, look at what he's done over his life. I think he's one that can execute. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Do I agree with his plan fully? No, not really. But I respect him enough to know that he has the gumption to get it done. You know what I mean? I think he'll do it. And if he does, great. Now we have a pretty good, not the best architecture for going back to the moon, but a pretty good one. So yeah, again, a lot of respect for the dude. If you haven't seen that flame trench, go watch it. It's at the very end, about the 2 hour 30 minute mark in. Jared also said that none of the payloads could have been lifted by SLS in a single launch anyways. Yeah, my third question that I didn't get time to ask, spoiled, would have been, are there higher energy solution upper stages for SLS in the future? That would have been my third question. But the conversation shifted, so I didn't ask. Cody, you just met Christina Cook at IAH. At where? In Kansas? All right. My background photo is the Artemis 2 Earth set. She said, "I like your background." I took that photo. Whoa, dude. Yeah, I'd be like, "Yeah, you cool. You're cool. I like you." Yeah, I took that photo. I heard you went through the agent program. I wrote that program. What did you think of her? The lady who took the photo of the moon. She's actually pretty cool. She's an astronaut. Pay no attention to these hypocrites, Cody. To deny our lunar exploration is to deny the very thing that makes us human. IAH is Houston. Oh, yeah, that's right. What the heck is Eisenhower in Kansas? It doesn't matter. Screw it. I can arrange a meeting. Yeah, I didn't go there. All right. That's cool, Cody. That's awesome. I would have been like, I think I'll give it. She would have been like, "Okay, you're weird. I'm leaving. Bye." I'd be like, "No, please come back." ICT is Eisenhower. Yeah, I don't know why brain, dude. My brain still not do good much since traumatic event. You know what I mean? Sometimes potato. Other times, Swiss watch. EJ forgets that it's just that these are just people. Or, EJ likes to make it into a bit to make people laugh, and can clearly conduct myself normally around people that have, been to the moon and stuff. No. The subtlety is lost on you. Have you ever been to the Kansas Cosmosphere in Hutchinson yet? No, not yet. Thought, wasn't Mark II supposed to be sent to the moon by the cislunar transporter? If it was, does that mean that it has to have a docking port in forward so then it can do lower Orion to LLO? You talking about Blue Moon Mark II? I don't know. With that side docking port, we know that it's going to be a lunar rendezvous because you're not going to do a transfer with Orion hanging off the side. Did you see Berger's article on the ISS leak and the reason for his shelter in the Dragon? Yeah, the Russians appear to have gone at their the wall on their module with a hacksaw and a chisel. I know what they're doing. They're trying to alleviate the cracks. They're trying to get rid of the stress cracks because aluminum. But also, you're inside a pressurized aluminum shell taking a hacksaw to the brackets on the inside of it, which is dangerous. Yeah, dangerous is the word that comes to mind. That is incredibly Russian. Yeah, no. Guys, I'll be 100% honest with you. I'll bet you that the station was probably not in any crazy particular danger. And the Russians probably I think they were sawing a bracket, to be 100% honest, so they could get at the cracks. Because they think one of the cracks is behind a bracket on the interior of the pressure vessel that's holding something. But even then, let's just have aluminum bits just floating around inside of the space station. That's a great idea. Nope. I do believe their solution was to hold a vacuum cleaner near the, where they were sawing, which is also, once again, I don't think the station was in any particular danger, but the truth of the matter is that you can't say that for sure. And that's why the NASA astronauts sheltered in place, because you don't know for sure. You don't want to risk it. It'll probably be fine. But probably would be fine isn't the reason why we have inhabited a space station in space for 26 years consecutively. You don't do probably would be fine when 7 souls are involved here. So, yeah. Kind of on the Russians to do their due diligence and at least tell us what's going on.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
You know, if you, like, think about it like this. You have an airplane, right? You have an airplane, and every time you put a wrench on a plane or do something to the plane, you log it out, you tag it out, you document it, you put it in a log, whatever. If you had even a master technician, like say for an F4, right? You had a master technician go over this plane front to back. If they didn't write it down, that's dangerous. Even if you had a master technician, you had somebody that knows every nut and bolt on this plane back to front, and the plane is in perfect flying condition. You don't, and if they didn't write anything down, if they didn't log anything, that's dangerous. Because if another tech comes and sees that that work hasn't been done in the logs and goes and tries to do the same work over again, you can have a big problem. You don't screw around with stuff like this. Even if you know what you're doing, you have to, it could be a problem. I know, outdoorsman. Like, yeah, it's not great. You got a pet. You got a responsibility. If your dog is lost, if your station's leaking, you don't just saw at the bracket and call it quits. You get your butt out there, Mason. You tell everybody, and you fix that frickin' leak. The article said it's been several years with multiple instances of leaks. Guess they don't have a replacement module. Maslam, the DOS9 module is like 40 years old. I think it's 45 years old, dude. Zvezda, 45 years old. It's been in space for 26 years. It's 45 years old. It was manufactured for the Mir 2 space station when the Soviet Union existed. So, yeah, I don't think they have a replacement one of those. I'm just putting it out there. What the heck's going on here? Yeah, I don't think they have a replacement of that. Also, the paperwork makes our brains behave. We are inherently sloppy in nature, and even the best professional will unintentionally skip something. Yep, no Mir 3. No. Mir 3 is... No, I don't think so. Could it be possible for Roscosmos to seal off that specific module that's leaking and potentially undock and deorbit it? No. The part that's leaking is part of the Zvezda module. Zvezda is your service module for the space station. It's the connector to one of the docking ports. It's the pressurized volume that connects the interior pressurized volume of Zvezda to the SSVP for progress docking. Yep. You're not getting rid of that. They need that to boost the space station. You need Zvezda to boost the space station. You need the docking port so you can have a progress attached to it so you can transfer fuel to the module so you can give it more fuel, because it would have ran out of fuel years ago if they didn't do that. And yeah, you need to also, you could use progress to boost it. That's pretty much the reason why it's cracking, because you have progress pushing around a 400-ton space station. Do the ISS vacuum cleaners just consist of a tube that opens to an external environment? Really, 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 really short answer, yes. Really long answer, well, long-ish or longer answer, it's a little more complicated than that, but yeah, that's their manner of actuation, dude, yeah. Think of it like bleed air, but in reverse. It'd be like trying to apply a tourniquet to solve a head injury. Griff, who the heck does CPR for a gunshot wound to the head? It worked, sir. I saved your life. Sorry. Old reference. Please read your last message. No, you read my last message. You weren't paying attention. Yeah, Blue Origin, I know that it won't do it docked on the side, but there might be just another docking port, no pressure docking port on the forward for docking to assist lunar transporter. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's possible. There's got to be a refueling umbilical up there, Aitor, for the... Yeah, yes. Yeah, classic reference, not old. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I had a head wound once and I just got a washcloth. Oh, dude, too real. All right. All right, let's see what else we got. So these pictures are coming from Spaceflight Now. Will Robinson Smith took these pictures for Spaceflight Now. The Astrobotic Griffin 1 lander is nearing the end of final assembly before heading to California for environmental testing next week. The Astrolab Space Flip rover will be integrated into the lander down at the Cape ahead of launch in late 2026. That's Astrobotic's Griffin lander. It's like a lander with a platform on it, so you could put rovers or something on it and then land them. The Flip is designed to go on it, but there was another rover that was designed to go on it that NASA decided to cancel. But yeah, so now it's just going to launch on another thing instead because they brought it back. Did you cover curveball? Apparently something is in a 200 by 200 orbit. All right, so Griffin is getting ready to fly. That's good. That's what Viper was supposed to launch on, but NASA canceled it because they thought it was too expensive. They thought it would have been too expensive to launch the rover after they built it. So they built the rover and completed it, and then they said, oh, it's too expensive now. We can't launch it. No, I'm not making this up. No, that is not hyperbole. That is the Office of Management and Budgeting saw the project go over a threshold for cost, just even by, like maybe by a couple $1 million, and canceled it. They have, don't worry, since then Viper has gotten back and NASA, Blue Moon Mark 1 is scheduled to launch Viper, if I'm remembering that right. I'm still kind of fuzzy from yesterday. All right, what's this next thing you guys got? It's coming from Jonathan McDowell. Space Force has cataloged the Electron rocket stages from the June 11th HASTE launch as being in orbit, but with no associated orbital data. Does this mean Curveball reached orbit and the payload was deorbited on the first orbit? Well, let's go over to next space flight here and see what's up. All launches previous. So Curveball. So this is a Rocket Lab HASTE mission. This was launched out of Wallops heading due southeast. HASTE launches are usually suborbital. They're a hypersonic weapons demonstrator. Well, let's just say a hypersonics demonstrator. So Electron launches on a suborbital trajectory, flies on a really shallow trajectory, and the second stage gets going fast enough to get hypersonic stuff going, right? Jonathan McDowell is saying, when Curveball launched, U.S. Space Force has cataloged the Electron stages from the June 11th HASTE launch as being in orbit. The blank orbital data on SpaceTrack's SatCat package for 2020 for Coast Priority 2026-130 have now been filled, showing a 198 by 199 at 40 degrees inclined and 189 by 204 at 40 degrees for the two objects. Those orbits are not stable, guys. They're not going to be up there for long. It's just, yeah, interesting that it did get up there in the first place. I would guess that both of those orbits have already re-entered or will do so in the next day or two. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. See, yeah, Jonathan's real. He knows. And that's good, but ideally you don't want to say you're putting something suborbital and then go orbital. Maybe they were testing some type of hypersonic propulsion and it worked too good. But then again, the flip side of that is circularization. What are the orbits again? 198 by 199 at 40 and then 189 by 204 at 40. That's deliberate. You don't get into almost perfect circular orbit with almost no eccentricity by accident either. So, just some food for thought there. Yeah, you don't get into that orbit by accident, you know what I mean? So, whatever. Oh, God. Excuse me. All right, I'm just going to bring it out there. I am hungover from yesterday. So that's why I'm like, and that's why I look like a lobster. Right? You DJ catch some sun. You could say that. I'm over. The loopy outburst at the start was a clue. You're radiant. I spent a lot of time outside over the last couple of days. I touched grass, so to speak, and pool. Have you been enjoying all the Scots running about for the World Cup? I was not in Boston. I wasn't even near it all weekend, dude. I haven't seen any of it. We'll see some of it soon. You had a party? Brimo and I went to a destination wedding. I can't say where. It wasn't in Massachusetts. Well, it was in Massachusetts, but it was not near Boston. Let me put it that way. And it got a little rowdy. Yeah, you by definition can't get into a .000000076 eccentricity orbit by accident. Yep. All you have to do is look up the police blotters. I don't think we had the cops called on us. We may have. It didn't show up if we did. I mean, I was playing music pretty damn loud for a very long period of time. So, you know. But yeah, that was fun. It's a good time. Did you tell them you knew a guy at NASA? Yes and no. There were people at this wedding that know what I do. So that got flexed around. Hey, this is my friend EJ. He just got done doing an interview with Jared Isaacman the other day. He talks to people at NASA a lot. I'm like, I was like, yeah, that's what I do. Damn it. Shoot. Here we go again. Yep. Hey, Darth Moggy, thank you for becoming a flight controller over on YouTube. Appreciate it. So, yeah, that's what's going on with you, boy. I'm like, aha. How many times did you get Can You Ask Elon? No, not a lot. We were at a place where there was not a lot of light pollution. So at night, after the wedding, I'm not going to say that we were looking up at the sky, looking at stars, like picking out stars and constellations, and I told people how to find the North Star. Totally didn't learn that from playing My Summer Car or Winter Car. I'm just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. Yeah, cigars, beer, and stars, I guess, is how that kind of worked. Did you bring a telescope? Nah, couldn't get it on the plane, dude. Speaking of MSC this summer again, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of paranoid about playing games in here with the weather. Let me get the air conditioner installed and we'll go from there. I have a wall mount AC that I need to get put in, but I need help putting it in. I will get help putting it in. It'll happen soon, etc., etc. You, when they told you these things. Time out. Yeah. So that was supposed to happen already. Oh boy, here we go with your excellent perception, Brun. Guess what? My brother-in-law is supposed to install it and he's sick in the hospital. Now how do you feel? Do you feel like a jackass? Because you kind of are being one right now. Yeah, there you go.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hee-haw! Anyway, more space news. Let's go. We got more coming from Stoke. So Stoke looks like they completed their qualification testing campaign with the Nova first stage, and now they're, whoa, hello. Now they're moving it away from headquarters. Smart, we don't need the computers getting damaged again. Yeah, so rain check on the games until it's not hot in here and like can keep the temperatures down. But yeah, that's what's going on. You're really good at being the donkey, so not really. Oh. Well, yeah, no, I agree. You're very good at it. So yeah, they're moving out the first stage. Where did they say they were moving it? Stage 1 is back at Stoke HQ in Kent after a successful proto-qualification campaign. Real hardware, real progress. Real Rainier in the background. Horns, mountain, let's frickin' go. Neat. Can I enjoy this meal? The succulent Chinese meal? Are you ready to receive my rocket stage, sir? All right, next bit here that we got coming is this. So this is for the Swift Space Observatory boosting mission. On here is a probe that's made by a company called Catalyst Space. Catalyst is launching a mission to extend the life of the Swift Space Observatory, one of NASA's observatory probes. This is on the payload's on a Pegasus rocket that will be launched from the basically only airworthy L-1011 in the universe, in the world. That's Northrop Grumman's Stargazer. Stargazer is a Lockheed Martin L-1011 TriStar, or just Lockheed TriStar for short. It's the only airworthy one that I know of. Man, they should be using these things to move around. Like UPS and FedEx should be using these, not that steaming pile of McDonnell Douglas that is an MD-11. If you have well water, you could set up an open loop cooling system with an old car radiator and a box fan and some hoses. You guys just don't get it, do you? You just don't get it. You just don't get it. Scott, you just don't get it, do you? No, I don't have well water, John. It's not gonna work like that, dude. That'd be nice though. I have a solution. This solution got delayed. Frankly, it was the solution that everybody was giving me until I got one, and now everybody's giving me other solutions. Dude, I got it. My brother-in-law's gonna install it, but he's not feeling well right now. We'll get it done, dude. Ipso facto, we will continue playing games very soon, okay? Let me get that thing figured out, and we'll go from there. So yeah, Catalyst is going to launch this mission with Northrop Grumman on Pegasus. This TriStar takes off, and they let Pegasus go, and then Pegasus gets shot up into space. So this airliner launches stuff into space, which is super cool. Yeah, I wouldn't want to pay the city prices. I was just thinking of a temporary fix. I appreciate it, man. But, yeah, no, I'm good. In the time it takes to get that temporary fix all figured up and working correctly and not leaking water all over the place, I'll probably just have the thing installed. So check this out. This is down in Long Beach. This is from Rocket's Red Glare, who spotted a Terran R first stage qualification test article. This is in Long Beach Airport. Relativity Space took over the former McDonnell Douglas aircraft, C-17 aircraft plant here, and they used that to make Terran R. And it looks like they got a first stage up on the qualification test stand there. An onboard from Pegasus would be incredible. It would be. Your buddy used to work there making C-17s. Yeah, I think the person that decided that the C-17 line should be stopped needs to be kicked in the face in Minecraft, you know what I mean? What kind of helo do we have there? Sorry, I apologize. You said it was electrical. It was just electrical left for the office. Yeah, I need help doing that too, dude. But yeah, no, it's all good, Ron. Don't worry about it. I'm a little antsy because, let's just say, I got a little sun yesterday. I fell asleep by the pool for a few hours. Did you fall asleep or did you pass out? Shut up! No, I'm good. Not really. But it'll be fine. Does that explain why goalie? That explains why goalie was replacing the sun earlier. It's no penguin. No, Mr. EJ, there's no penguin. You got too much sun today. It's too damn hot for a rocket to be just qualifying around here. I gotta send it back to its test stand. No! Sorry. Teleports, the moon landing was fake. Okay, 3 things. No, it wasn't. You're an idiot. Trolls will get the sword, okay? No, it wasn't. You're an idiot. We know what you're doing. Stop. Go away. Cool. On to this next article. I'm joking, bro. No, you weren't. Shut the fuck up. Everybody comes in here and does that. Said, oh, this bull landing is fake, dog. And I'm like, no, you're an idiot, dog. And they're like, oh, what's your problem, man? I was just joking. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Stop it. You said it twice. Stop. Stop it. Enough of that crap. Boom. Bring that crap in here. You weren't kidding. Fight. Let's go. Look at this. This is a Space News article. Astra is all in on AI. All right. I was asking you if you think it was fake. I never said if it was. Never said it was. Well, I answered your question then. All right, let's read this article, dude. All right. All in on AI at Astra. Okay. And it's behind a paywall. So if you guys don't, so here, instead of, you know, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing a paywall. That's funny as hell that they do that now. So Astra is a company that's run by a guy by the name of Chris Kemp, and Astra had a contract with DARPA a number of years ago to build small rockets that can be deployed anywhere at a moment's notice and hit orbital capacity, albeit with small payloads, right? So that brought us Astra's Rocket 3.0. Rocket 3.0 had a handful of successful launches, but the vast majority of them are failures. And since then, since their last failure of Rocket 3.3, I think it was 3.3, they have been pivoting to supposedly Rocket 4, and now, guys, surprise! It seems like Chris Kemp wants to pivot into AI. Surprise! What is it? Okay, I'm not gonna show this, but I want to see something here. Let me see something. Give me one moment. So Astra's basically working on electric thrusters, and they were trying to work on a slightly bigger Rocket 4. He expects the first Rocket 4 to launch by the end of the year from the Cape. He's taking a page from startups across the bay and using artificial intelligence tools to run the company. That change stemmed from the frustration Chris Kemp had with the expensive enterprise software Astra had used as a public company. Oh. Bro. That's, all right. Let me just read a little bit more. Astra has trained an AI model using every bit of information about the company, from budgets and requirements to documents and technical specifications. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro, what are you doing? I'm trying not to be a jerk. I'm trying not to be a jerk, dude. Oh my goodness. What are you doing? Stop. All right. All right. This requires a commitment from everyone in the company to use and contribute to that model, or else. He said, this is a quote, I'm making every employee at Astra write software and contribute software to our software stack this year. If you don't, you're fired. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. That is in this article. I'm not kidding. Oh my god. What are you doing? Stop it. Bro. I can't wait for your coverage of the inevitable lawsuits. Astra only has 100 employees. Okay, I bet you they're gonna have less after this. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. It's all the Revue engine's fault. Dude. He added that he told the senior leadership team they need to increase their output by a factor of 10 this year. I want you to figure out how to measure it, and I want to see it, and if you don't make that mark, you're gone. Is this a joke? Is this a joke? What is going on
Discovery,
here?
go and
Hey
drive up.
Liz, how are you? There's no context to that. Bro, you guys are not going to believe this. It says most space companies are using AI tools to some degree, but at least publicly talk about using them to augment their existing employees in areas such as data analysis or back office work. You know, like normal functioning people. Kemp, by comparison, sees AI and automated manufacturing tools replacing employees. That is key to reducing cost and mass manufacturing rockets and thrusters. This is a quote. We are doing it. We are going to do it by eliminating most of our employees, he said. We're taking our staff down, down, down. I'd be leaving. Yeah, Vash. I would get an email. If I got that email that says you got to contribute to the AI. You got to contribute to the AI. I'd be like, yeah, you got to contribute to my severance. Bye. See you later. I'm out. You can contribute to my severance package now. Amaze. How bad? Bro, keep reading it. It gets worse. I'm losing brain cells fast here. Robots are... What? Hold on. Let me just... Astra at its peak had 400 employees, and Kemp said it now is 110. The company expects that trend to continue as AI tools get better at more complex engineering tasks. The leaders of various engineering teams at the company, he predicted, will be the last members of those teams. This is a quote. Robots are putting things together and AI agents are doing the work. Our cost structure is going to go down to nothing. That is an insanely scary company. AI isn't free? Question? Yeah, how many tokens are you going to use designing a rocket? Because, does this man realize that all you're doing here is that if you're querying AI on the company documents, you basically just handed your entire IP over to Google or whatever AI they're using? Do you understand this? You're not making an aerospace company anymore. Google is. Bro, what is wrong with you? Yeah, here, write and train the software that will replace you. Yeah, that'll work well. Yeah, Lava, I don't know. It's just... I can't believe this. It did say trained on an internal model, so they're just paying NVIDIA for hardware at an absurd overhead. Well, yeah, spoiled. You know what, dude? I'll say what I'm gonna say whenever a rocket company has an outlandish goal. Good luck. I hope you succeed. Not really, but... So basically, he just sent out an email that says write code or you're fired. If you don't write code, you're fired. But if you write code, you're basically writing yourself out of a job. Yeah, I'm sure this will go over well. Bro, this is like LinkedIn tier level of unhinged. I can simply, 5 key secrets to being a Fortune 500 CEO. Fire all your employees. If you fire all of your employees, you will have extra money because you don't have to pay their salaries anymore. And you will sit back and watch as your profits go through the roof. It's like, it's some real unhinged LinkedIn stuff. I just had an employee that ticked all of my boxes. And at the end, they said they're really willing to join this company. But so then I told them I rescinded the offer because I only accept employees that hate me. If it's a major red flag if an employee likes the company that they're applying to, you shouldn't like your job. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? What are you saying? You're just saying words. Fire 1 million. Be prepared for malicious compliance. Yeah, exactly, dude, right? You know, guys, I don't think we need to talk about Astra anymore. Oh, please, Pixig, that'd be amazing. I don't think we need to talk about Astra anymore or ever again. Yeah, that was nuts. His employees are gonna poison the model. That's what I would do. If T equals 0, explode. Please talk about Astra as they fizzle out. Bro, that isn't even, like, that's not even an AI pivot, dude. Like, bro, what's wrong with you? I don't get it. You see, if we just launch less, we'll be a more competitive space company. I don't understand what's going on. That plan sounds wrong. Cheap rocket tooling available soon. That's a good point. Look at all the recent contracts SpaceX just signed for raw compute, 0 services, and it would break Astra in 6 months. He's delusional, desperate, or both. I don't understand why it's so hard for Chris Kemp and Astra to just, launch rockets, considering they're a launch services provider. There's this. It seems like they launched a couple of rockets, a couple of them blew up, and somehow he got it in his mind that, we need to diversify. We need to diversify if we're going to stay profitable. No. If you're a launch company, you need to launch rockets to stay profitable. That's how that works. If you don't do that, everything else is just coping. No, you got that the wrong way around. You got to launch something. If you're a launch provider, it's in the name. You seem to want to do everything but that. Like, I don't mean to do this, and I probably shouldn't say it, but it's like Blue. Blue's working on all this stuff. You're working on landers. You're working on Blue Ring. You're working on all this stuff. That means dick if you can't launch it into space. It means nothing. Like, I don't mean to be mean, but also, it's the same deal with Astra. There's all these thruster things that you're making, all this other stuff that you're doing, but you're a launch provider. Any pivot is just a coping mechanism. Like, you're not wrong, unfortunately. Sawyer, I say it, I like Blue. There's so much potential there. I am very, very, very candid about Blue because I'll be honest, I kind of hope in the off chance maybe somebody sees this and says, yeah, we got to do that. Like, I'm trying to root for you guys. I really, honest to God, like, hand on my heart, that's what's going on. I like Blue. I want them to succeed, but you're not going to succeed being a launch provider if you know, in all these other endeavors if your launch vehicle doesn't work. Like, I didn't think that needed to be said until NG4 came around, The only reliable launcher outside of SpaceX is Rocket Lab. Yeah, Electron and Falcon 9, dude. That's it. Could you see Tory Bruno becoming the CEO of Blue Origin to write the course? I think that would be a very good idea, Darker Player. Yeah, I think that would be a very good idea. So given that AI can only present information it's being fed, and it's supposedly only been given internal information, aren't they just training an AI that's really good at being bad at designing and launching rockets? Yes. That Astra stuff is from a Space News article by Jeff Faust. Jeff, I deliberately did not share the entire article because that's mean. I don't do that. Go follow and support Space News. They do have good articles over there, and some of it is paywalled. So let's see. Rocket company should be run by somebody that knows something about rockets, or at least treat it like a rocket company. Yeah. Speaking of rocket companies, we checked the stonk and it was at 183 at the start of the stream. And it has gone up to 192. This is not investment advice, I just think it's funny to look at. For what it's worth, just full disclosure, I bought one share for the memes. I bought in at 150, so I'm up about 42 bucks, which is pretty cool. $42. Yeah, one man maybe. Anyway, guys, so here's what happened. I wanted to do the ESAR coverage, right? And right when I hit the start button, they posted that they scrubbed a little bit earlier. And so I just said, screw it, let's do Space News. And now I'm all screwed up because we got to the point where we should have pretty much ended ESAR coverage talking about the launch, etc., etc. And we're basically at the point where we should have started Space News, and now we're finishing Space News. So, garage time? It's too hot. I mean, I could, but Scott Manley brought up something interesting. Can Orion handle getting pushed backwards to the moon by Starship? Hadn't thought of that, obvious. Yes, it can. It's the shock load, Bob, but if Starship HLS is fully fueled with the HLS lander and cargo on the HLS lander, long story short, you fire 3 Raptors, and then a little bit after that, you fire 3 more. Don't fire all the Raptors all at once, and you will not exceed longitudinal load limits on the docking port. It'll work. We did the math for it the other day. Basically, you're saying you're going now. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I did pretty well considering my head is killing me right now. No, I'm just gonna go chill for a little bit. Once again, we're doing kind of the slower schedule, guys, right now. Just let me dial stuff back in here. Where we're really going to start grinding out schedule again and get back to the regular routine and maybe even games is probably on the other side of the 4th of July. Old man can't handle beer, implying we were just drinking beer. That's cute. Okay.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
So yeah, I think Bree is pretty much getting back to normal, dudes, which is pretty awesome. Is it vacation season with the 4th coming? I'm looking at the calendar right now. Fellas, this week is I'm probably going to take this week off. I always take this week off. This week we'll grind. And then I'm going to take that week off. And then pretty much here on the 7th is when we're going to get back into the routine. Bree should be good by then. Yeah, she's on the mend, which is, thank God. So I can get back to focusing on stuff here. Basically, since the beginning, for like a month and a half, I've been doing really, really light streams. I don't like it. We'll get back into the games, etc., etc. So, yeah, just been trying to put my life and me and my wife's life back together. It's great. Or going to weddings, that's good too. The last Atlas V is probably on the 2nd. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. No. No. Fucking ULA, don't do this to me. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Glad to hear she's doing better. Thank you. So yeah, I need it. I haven't been streaming much, guys, but I've still been burning the candle at both ends, dude. I really don't have much time to do anything of use. Like, we barely worked on the car, and I'm really pissed off about that. But yeah, we'll pop in for a random thing. Yeah, but I wanna really use the 4th of July and my birthday and stuff as just refocus, get back into the swing of things. Because yeah, I've been in a funk since start of May. It's freaking last 2 months have been basically not a write-off, but I really wanted to get that Kerbal save going. But we will. Don't worry. Yeah, like, that's the truth, you know. The truth is that I don't regret anything either, you know, because my, Primo's alive. That's kind of important. We kind of want that. July birthdays are the coolest. That's right. That's right. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed Space News for the day. We did about 2.5 hours here. Good stuff. Once again, as we get into July, we'll get the schedule back. We will. I got plenty of games to play. Don't worry. So for now, I'll see you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I actually have to go grocery shopping because we've been gone. So that's what I'm going to go do. It's going to be great. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Tomorrow I got to drive up into the city. I actually got another dentist appointment. Turns out you should brush your teeth. Yeah. Got another one. How are the teeth coming along? They coming along good? Look at that. That's real good. Very nice. Yeah, floss. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been really trying to take care of them. See? Very good. So, yeah. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Whenever I get back. I might test the waters with playing games tomorrow, but you're definitely going to get a Space News, and that's how we start building our routine back. Just Space News. Enjoy being an adult. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good night. Happy Monday, I guess. Thanks for watching.